Welcome to another episode of Tactical Tuesday. This week we're going to do something different. We are entering the realm of Starter Kit 3. In so doing, we need to know how armor works. We need to be able to look at a counter and understand all the facets of that particular piece of material that's going to be in our games. The infantry counter's easy enough. You've got unit size by the number of men that are on the counter, attack, range, and morale. Perhaps you might have underlying things beneath that and a couple exponents here above your firepower. So those are the things that are very similar to a AFV, except for they will just mean certain different things. Lots of information on each counter. Even on the back side is where there's even more information. So we go over that, divvy up the sides, and clash at Borisovka, and we start up a game with about 6 or 8 people. So we go into it, we answer questions as we go along, we dissect the hit modifiers, whether you're target based, whether you're fire based, things like that. And I hope you enjoy it. And turn 1 coming up after a lengthy discussion on dissecting armor. Thanks a lot. This scenario is, I don't know if it's unique in Starter Kit, but it is all armor. So we don't have to worry about infantry, all that bullshit, Panzerfaust, Panzerschrecks, all the good stuff. We're just going to be dealing with armor. And so, since there's only 5 of us here, let's kind of take a poll of kind of where you guys are in armor. And that way it will kind of dictate the pace of today's session. So we can go with that. What I want to do initially is, again, find out where you guys are. We could, and based upon that, we'll determine what type of material I kind of pull out, and that Mark can correct me on. And then we can go about setting up and starting. The turns should go pretty fast. And but there's a couple little key things I wanted to go over in the I read through the Richardson tutorial, and there's a couple things I read in there that I just want to make sure is clarified by you and by me. Just a lot of the terminology, and there's one thing I'm gonna focus on in terms of terminology, which is very important, and once you get that down, you'll be fine. And then there's just one other thing, and then there's a trick too. There's a trick I learned from the tutorial, because I said, oh, that's a bunch of bullshit, and then I actually read the ASL rule, and it's like, oh, okay, that seems kind of, nah, I don't really like it, but it's a game mechanic to make the game more exciting, otherwise it'd be boring as hell. So, but anyway, with that, let's go with Jim. Where are you in your armor? Where's your armor discipline at right now, Jim?
Well, I'm a new guy on the block with Starter Kit 3, and I've played S24 and S22, and I've had some really great folks who have hand carried me through those. So that's what I'm doing here tonight, is hiding and watching.
Oh no, you're playing. You're gonna be engaging. This is not a watch. This is a play.
Oh, okay.
Play. So we get to all make mistakes together, and we get to all learn together. That's the beauty of it. I can't get it to roll. If you guys can roll it, it's fine. All right, so super new, Jim. Great deal. That's what I like to hear. And then Mark, how well are you versed, Mark? You play armor a lot.
Oh yeah. I would imagine I am probably about as good as any starter kit person would be in that respect. Yeah,
okay.
I've certainly played a lot of armor, so.
All right, sweet. That's good. That's good.
Yeah,
Now we have
I'm usually the one who adds up all the modifiers for everybody I'm playing with.
Yeah. So so right now we got the 2 and the 12 spectrum. Now we need some 7s. So Rob, what about you, Rob? Where are you in your armor?
I'm definitely an Tier 7.
Okay.
I just got through. I started reading the tutorial. I've played some guns solo, but I've really, I thought I'd just watch this one kind of like Jim, but
No, yeah, no, oh, no, no,
Now
no,
I'm
no,
stuck.
no. You're stuck with moving counters. I don't care if you run into woods or blow tracks. It doesn't matter.
Roger that.
You're coming in, and then Steve, and then we'll get to Craig.
Yeah, I've read through the rules and pushed the pieces around kind of solo, but I don't have any real game experience with armor.
Okay. So everyone's heard the rule. And Craig, you've played some armor. Good. We have a good gamut. A lot of good new. And this is exactly what we want because Mark's a very, very good resource to have. I mean, I can't do this without Mark and John providing technical expertise and stuff like that. And that's what we're all here for. We're all just here to. I can't do it all. I can do some of it, but it's easy for me to screw up because just the management of the whole thing. So I appreciate you guys showing up, and I like the new players. So let me just start from the beginning. So when I look at a scenario, especially scenario card, whether you have a mixed OB, you got guns, armor, infantry, whatever, or just armor or just whatever. Always, almost on the guns, I pretty much ignore the guns. I got to be honest with you, because most of the historical information in the back of your vehicle and ordnance notes are very pretty much there's nothing on ordnance. But that doesn't mean there's not important information that you can be had on ordnance. In particular, the Russian 82, I think the Russian 82 and 76 millimeter mortars. They're very unusual. I don't know if they're in the SK world yet, but they might be. I'm not sure. I'm just propping it open. I don't want to have to bother with it. But just in terms of the importance of reading, and that's the point, the importance of reading your vehicle and ordnance notes before the game starts, and that's where we are here, before the game starts, so you know the capabilities of the vehicles, so you know the limitations as well. What you want to do before you look at the map, before anything else, you want to pull that stuff out. If you're doing face-to-face, get a little card, a little 3x5, something like that is very, very useful. Or, especially, like I say, especially for the newer players. Or what you could do is you could look on the back of the counter. What I have here, and I use this Vassal template file. This is the type of information that we're looking up. This is the type of information that you're going to find. I'm going to put it right in the middle of the map. Oops. And this is what we want to know. So we've got, and I'm going to clone these guys down here. So make sure I don't delete them and stuff. So we've got our Panzer set. There should be images like right there, but I must have an old version. But I'm just going to put them like right here. And so this is what we need to do before you start your game, and that way you will maximize the capabilities of your units and your usage thereof. I mean, and especially with the Americans. The Americans are where you're going to have your problems, because the Americans in vehicles and stuff like that, there's a bunch of special stuff with the Americans. I think the 43s are the 17 movement points. I think.
No, the 41s. No, the 41s are 17s. 17s in red.
Okay. And when you guys
war transmission problems with Russian equipment.
17s are red. So the M43s are 17s?
The M43s are 16 black.
Okay, gotcha. All right. So what I want you guys to do is on those counters there, I want you to right click on the counter and show info. All right. So that you have the counters next, right where they are. And this is what we're looking at, and this is the information that we have on it as well. Again, this information is on the back side of your counters, and then we'll go over there. But so this is what you find for the first part. Now, for the people that haven't played, let me reduce my image. For the people who haven't played with a lot of armor, on the armor counter, we're going to do a quick dissection of the counter. Does everyone know what the upper right number means for armor? Does anyone not know what it means? That's the movement point factor, right? Movement point factor. So, again, if you have any questions, or if I miss something that you don't particularly understand, we need to cover it, because that's why we're here. So, movement points upper right. I'm just looking at the first Russian vehicle right now, the M41, the 11, and the 6. The 11 armor means what? What do you think the 11 armor means, Jim? What does that represent?
Frontal armor factor.
Okay, and what's the 6 mean?
Side and rear.
Okay, and do you know what the circle means?
No.
Okay, and the circle, you see the circle on the M41, and then you see on the German vehicles they have squares. Do you see that?
Yes.
Okay, on their armor factors. What that means is that's the superior turret or inferior turret, the upper structure. So if you were to hit that vehicle from the front, because the 11 is the frontal armor, the other one is side rear, the frontal armor is 11. So if you hit that vehicle in the hull, which is determined by your dice roll to hit dice roll, it will strike, quote, the 11 armor. But if you hit it in the turret, and since it has a circle on it, the 11 is its inferior armor, so it will be decreased by the next level of your armor staging thing. I think that is 8. So the 11, it's not linear, it's not straight up linear. It goes from 11 to an 8. So if you were to hit that turret in the front, it will be an 8 armor. If you hit that turret in the side, it will be a what armor? Anybody? Side turret shot on that top tank on the Russians.
Be a 6.
It'll be a 6, right? And so that's what we're doing when we're trying to figure out how to use it. So we got side rear is the bottom one, front is the top one. The circle only applies to turret hits. So you look at the Panzer IV F2 on the right-hand side, top German vehicle. You've got a 6 for the frontal armor, which applies to the front hull and the front turret. But then you have a 3 encased in a box for the side rear. So what does that mean? That means if you fire at an angle where you will hit the turret, not the vehicle hull. The vehicle hull will always have a 3. The vehicle rear will always have a 3. But if you hit the turret on that particular vehicle, on the side or rear, it will increase the value of that armor. And in this case, I believe it goes to a 4. I'm not sure. I think so, yeah. That's the one thing that that's the one thing you might want to put on your, which does not have on your charts, is the armor progression. It is in the rule book. It is in the rule book at one spot, but is not on a chart somewhere. So just put armor factors, and it goes from 0 to 26. So
for those who are looking for the armor factors, it's 7.1 in your, which is page 23 of your SK4 rulebook from the MMP website, to the bottom of the second column.
Yeah, and that's where we're getting it.
Ratings.
Yeah, that's where we're getting the progression of the armor. So, so a side or rear shot on the Panzer IV will increase the armor of turret hits. And then take on the next vehicle down below, the Tiger has the frontal portion of the turret has better armor, has a better, it's a superstructure, it's a better armor. And so the way I remember that is the circle and the square, right? The circle is easy to roll, which means it's easier to kill. Square is hard to roll, and so it's harder to kill. So that's how you can determine whether it goes up or down. And so the only on the armor factors, we'll go over other things. So the armor factor on that Tiger, on the 11, if it gets hit in the side, what will the armor be on the turret? On the side. So I shoot you, I hit you on the turret, on the side, what armor factor am I going to be looking at? That's kind of a trick question.
Oh, no.
It's
8.
still an 8.
It's an 8. That's right. I just want to make sure you guys are not fall asleep on me. It's an 8 because the bottom is the side rear. But if I hit you on the front, on the 11, on the turret, not the hull. If it's a hull hit, it will be an 11. If it hits you on the turret, which means the to hit dice roll, colored die is lower than the other one. that will be a turret hit. And so in this case, the armor will increase, and I believe it increases to a 14.
Yep, 14.
Is that correct? Yeah, I believe it's a 14. So it becomes harder to hit him in the front. So therefore, the Russians, if they're hitting turrets on this Tiger, are looking at 14 armor for the most part. So, and that's going to be a lot of your shots. And pretty much if you get rate of fire, you're always going to hit the turret for the most part. Unless you roll snake eyes, then you're just going to crit it anyway and blow up. So that's what we're looking at, the armor. And again, during the game, if you guys have questions, just say, hey, what are we looking at here? Bottom left is obviously, well, not obviously, but is your armament type. 76L for the Russians, 75 and 88L for your Germans. And that's the things we're going to be looking on, an AP to kill table or other type of to kill tables. The encased one in a box above the armament type is the potential for rate of fire. 3 of the 4 vehicles here have a potential for rate of fire. And if you happen to roll that number, there's nothing less, but that number or less on your color die roll, then you maintain rate of fire just like a machine gun. Just like a machine gun. So so that's pretty strong, especially with the 88. Bottom right are your machine guns. Easiest way to understand the machine guns is if there are 2 values there, it's B and think of B and C. So you're going alphabetical. B, C. If it has a 3rd value, it kind of goes backward. It's the AA machine gun. So B means it's a bow machine gun. So right here, the Germans have 3 firepower factors for the bow machine guns. That means that's only applicable to the vehicular covered arc of shots there. And the 2nd value on both the vehicles, the Germans have a 5. The Russians have a 4. That is the coaxial machine gun, which is right next to your main gun. So it's usually much better machine gun. So, and there are some things that deal with coaxial machine guns that can screw up your acquisitions, but we'll get to that. So bow, coaxial, and obviously if you move your turret to the left side or right side or wherever, most likely you're not going to be able to fire your bow machine gun with it. Depends on the orientation. But again, we'll get to that as well. And then on the back side of the counter, which you'll see, your CS is your crew survival, which does not apply in starter kit. So that is just a null factor for you guys. You don't have to worry about that until they incorporate crews. It's an irrelevant stat. The A4-2, A4-2-5, A4, so let's see. Let's look at the first Russian one. So the Russians are pretty similar. A is going to be your special ammo, which means every tank has AP and HE unless there's like an overscore to underscore. Here, there's none of that, so you have both ammo types. And in addition to, you have all vehicles here, looks like, oh, they might. It is 1943, is that correct?
It is 1943.
And here's where you look at your scenario card. Your scenario card will dictate this. So on your first Russian vehicle, it has an A4 with a 2 superscript, a 5 with a 3 superscript, a 6 with a 4 superscript. The superscripts are the year in which that number is appropriate. So we are in 43, so the first Russian vehicle will have an A, which I believe is an APCR type ammo, depletion number of 5. So you'll have that ammunition if you roll a 5 or less to hit, and if you roll a 5, you'll be out of it. But on the vehicle below it is the same thing, except for the applicability of that APCR goes till 1945, and that's a 7, which is really good. Now, conversely, on the German side, look at the Panzer IV. Your APCR is a ratio has a value of 5 in what year?
42.
1942. So we're in 1943, so that vehicle does not have APCR. Okay, so because it does not have a value for 43. Now, if it said A5 2 plus, means it will have it in 1942 onwards. And sometimes you'll see that as well. And the Tiger down below it's 1943, so his APCR will be 5 as well. So everyone will have APCR except for the Panzer IV. The last, well, there's a couple of things left. The SD7 and SD6 on the German vehicles are smoke dischargers, which means you could try and drop a dispersed smoke in your hex, which will allow you to not get shot quite as easily, or create cover for your infantry, or do whatever to obscure the enemy's vision. The Panzer IV, if you look at the next one over, is S8. He has smoke ammunition that he may fire from his main gun. It's the only vehicle in the game that can do that, in this particular scenario, rather. So it has a depletion number of 8. So if you roll at 8, it will fire that shot, assuming it hits, and it will be the last shot of that round, or the last round of that type of ammo available, and then he'd be out of smoke. Now we look at the special stuff. The R, do you see the R star, R circled star on the first Russian vehicle? Do you see that? It's the T-34 M41. And this is really what the notes are for. Let me try and pull that out. German. Let's see, the Russians are here. T-34. So what that typically means is it is radioless vehicle, so which means they have to go in platoon movement. And this is a 43 refractor.
Yeah, the M41s have radios, so there's no platoon movement rules in SK, so they don't have to worry about
Oh, I just have to worry about that? I thought they had like a special note for it. So it's vehicle note M, so that goes to vehicle note M. Yeah.
Vehicle note M is about its stalling capability, the transmission problems.
Okay. And so yeah, I didn't know if it had that or not. So wow, that makes a big difference. So I do know they get radios like in 43, is that right?
Correct, yeah. So and it's a 43 scenario, so they have radios anyway.
Right, so they kind of like circumvent that issue by making it a 43 one, which is cool. So and again, and then your Tiger tank, the last indication on that one there is ML9. That means that vehicle will have its crew. So if it were to take a shock check, or a stun check, or a task check, like if it's CE and he's exposed to fire, its morale level is 9. The other vehicles are based on that nationality's elite level. So most nationalities have their elites are level 8, morale level 8. The Americans are 7. So the Americans' crews are slightly worse morale. So, but the Tiger, if he's exposed to fire, if his crew exposed to fire, his morale level is considered to be a 9, which is really strong, And the SZ does not apply in SK. That's a type of armor which increases things. That's erroneous, just like the CS is. And so I think that's about, what's the M7 on the Tiger? Is that an erroneous note as well, Mark?
Yeah, I don't think it's used for this one. I don't think it's an SK thing.
Yeah. I don't even know what the heck it is, to be honest with you. I'd have to look it up in ASL. So I would assume it doesn't apply in SK.
Yeah, no, it's not one that I'm familiar with.
Yeah, and most of your vehicle notes in your booklet are pretty much historical. You kind of just want to look at the bottom part, and it will usually tell you rarity factors and things like that. So they have a lot of information in there, pretty much just historical. That's what...
Oh, actually, no. I guess it is in here.
Oh, really?
The secondary armament M was a number of mine dischargers mounted around the tank and fired from within as an anti-personnel close defense weapon.
Oh.
PC or melee only, just like an SN, but with a 12 FP and no smoke placement ability.
Right. So it's like it's the prototype, I think, of the SN. Okay.
Yeah. Prototype, yeah. So we don't have to worry about it. There's no infantry running around. So.
Right. So what that will do is that is primarily used for, like, if your infantry attack the tank, or if that tank can drive into a hex with infantry, it's got little grenade launchers outside the turret, and it can launch those grenade launchers and and attack the infantry in close proximity, and it will blow the living crap out of them. This is the prototype one. It's M7. You'll see in other ones it'll be an SN9, and that means it rolls a 9 or less to be effective, and it can fire smoke. So very deadly when you're dealing with infantry. So good defenses against the infantry in that case. But in this scenario, we won't have any infantry, so that's another thing you could look at. You could just disregard. So the last thing to it is just the red movement point values. Those are simply mechanical die rolls, mechanical reliability dice rolls, that when you start up the vehicle, you roll 2 dice. If you roll a 12, they are, is it immobilized? It's straight up immobilized on the 12s in SK?
Yes.
Okay, so you're straight up immobilized if you start those vehicles. Now you could remain in motion, it's not a problem, but once you stop and then expend another start movement point expenditure, then you have to roll again. It's not that big a deal, but it does happen. And last but not least, last and hopefully least, is the oh yeah, we'll go turret types too. The little square in the upper left of the top Russian vehicle has to deal with ground pressure. That typically applies, this one has a low ground pressure. It typically applies when you're going through trees, marsh, bog terrain. And so when you look at your charts and it says vehicles low ground pressure, vehicles high ground pressure, that's what it's referring to. That's where you determine where the vehicle has low ground pressure or high ground pressure. If you see a square, it's low. If you see nothing, it's normal. And if you see a circle, it is high ground pressure. So obviously your gigantic tanks are going to have a more difficult time with bog than a lot of your Russian tanks have, the wide tracks. So it's taking that into account. Oh, there it is right there. Radio 43 on. Right. Oh, gee, if I would just read my stupid notes, that's on the screen, I might learn something. So there you go. I mean, that's why you have your notes up here. Your radio, 12 immobilized for the red vehicle, red movement point notes. And if you roll an 11, you stall. So what you have to do then is you have to start up again. So you have to expend another start movement point. So if 11 is stall.
Actually, you roll, if you roll an 11, you have to roll 2d6. That is the number of movement points you have to waste trying to restart. You can even restart.
Yeah. So that's really crazy. You don't want that to happen. So that's crappy vehicles. Crappy vehicles makes a difference. And you see the radio. It says Radio 43 Plus. That's the little star. It doesn't really have the star on that, but 43 Plus, which is this year, which is important to know your years on your scenario card. So scenario card is important. The dates of the scenario cards are very important when it comes to vehicles. So anytime you pull up a vehicle scenario, always look at your vehicle notes for that particular vehicle. You can have special ammo some years, and in other scenarios it'll be late in the war, you won't have anything. So it's a lot different. So that's what we're looking at here. Unfortunately, there's that picture. So all right, so with that, I'm just going to move these down if I can. There we go, boom. I'll just put them down the bottom right, and I'll put this one here at bottom left. And then these vehicles are just cloned. You can look at the back of any vehicles. We don't really need those on the board, but you can look at the backs of any of the vehicles for that. Now, one thing, we'll get into the to-hit values as well when we start the scenario, okay? So typically, if you have your, I would like to think that everyone has a to-hit chart. If not, then the Vassal will have the to-hit tables for the most part. You can interpret them quite easily, and the to-kill values should be very similar as well. Where's the to-hit chart? I don't even actually use the starter kit ones to myself. So to-hit dice roll numbers, oh yeah. The base to hit is on the to hit chart. Yeah, God, it's so cumbersome. So anyway, the only chart we're dealing with on our to hit chart is going to be the far right column. The only thing we're going to be shooting at are vehicles. So it's vehicle target type. That's the only thing we're going to be shooting at. Okay. No area. Potentially you get area target type, but that's smoke. and that's only going to be the Tiger. No, the Panzer IV has smoke. But infantry target type will not apply. So yeah, we'll go from there. So base, what you need to hit, if nobody's moving, everybody's stopped, there's no other modifiers, the base to hit numbers are listed on your column on your right hand side. It'll be, and each vehicle has their own listed value, or each gun type has its own listed value. So your German, wow, this is, yeah, it's kind of cumbersome. So your German 75s will have a 10, 9, 9, 8. Those are black to hit numbers. Red to hit numbers, I'm not sure why those red to hit numbers are there, to be honest with you. But the Germans will be using their that to hit chart. I just like to think that if you just use a black to hit numbers, the Russians' vehicle guns are much less accurate, or whatever their scopes, their optics might not be as great as the Germans. So therefore, as you see the Russian armaments, the 76Ls, they have 8s, 8s, 7s. So slightly inferior to the Germans. So slightly inferior to the Germans by 1, and all that can, a lot of times that can make or break the scenario. So modifiers, we'll look up the modifiers as it goes on, and a lot of times we can just be spewing them out directly, and then you'll say, hey, what about this modifier, or why does that modifier apply this time and it didn't apply last time? And so we'll get into that. Most of the ones that we're looking at will be yeah, it's going to be a mixture of it. So as you progress through your SK learning, your modifiers that you're going to be adding to hit, the number of modifiers will increase. But just like anything else, always refer to the chart. The more often you look at the chart, the more you'll start to memorize those values, so you won't have to look at them all the time. But if you're a casual ASLSK player, more than likely you'll have to check the chart. If you want to highlight the ones that are much more common than the other ones, by all means do so, but they're all situational, to be honest with you. So that's a direct potential you could do. A lot of things will happen. Like, there's not going to be really any pin fire per se. Non-qualified use isn't going to be, captured use isn't going to be there. You're not going to be CX. There's not going to be any leadership. There may be smoke, and then the guns and vehicles only in the bottom could be down there. So we're going to eliminate a lot of them simply because we're not dealing with infantry, and most of the firing is going to be in open ground. So with that, let's just start rolling some dice and start asking some questions as we go along. And remember, learning scenario, gentlemen, I don't care what type of question you have. Say, hey Stu, do I need to start the vehicle since I moved it last turn? We'll say, yeah, not a problem. We're just going to go through it like we're sitting down at a table, but there's 8 of us, and you know, Mark provided this large table that we could play on, and he just didn't provide the beer, I guess, the beer and pretzels. So let's divvy up our sides and let's get the ball rolling on this stuff, and then the questions will come out, and that's where we start having some fun, is learning this tank stuff. And you guys should be armor leader 10-2 armor leaders by the end of this scenario. Yeah, I'll be a 6+1. I was thinking about putting some armor leaders on them and put because there are no armor leaders in SK. Putting an armor leader on the counters is not a big deal, so that would be kind of fun. So we got Craig here and we got Hammerhead. If you guys is that I think Jeremy's here. So we're gonna divvy them up.
We've got 8 people and we've got 16 tanks, so
right.
We've actually got a pretty nice number.
Okay, so yeah. Craig, you're here. Are you watching, Craig?
Well, maybe he isn't.
Yeah, he's in the room and he's on the mic thing. So what we'll do here is if you guys don't care, if anyone wants to be on the German side, just say I want to be German, and if anyone wants to be on the Russian side, I want to be Russian. And the other side, I don't care. Then you just roll die. So we'll just start from the top down. We'll go for the bottom. I don't care. I'm gonna roll a die. We'll roll just a white die. Let's see. We'll go. Odd will be the Russian. Even will be the German. So I'll be the Russian. I'm gonna be on the Russian side. So Steve B, go ahead and roll a die. Unless you want to pick a side. Okay, you're gonna be the German,
Okay.
and I'll do the I'll make a little label here. And then the next person.
Test. Oh, can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
All right, finally got this thing.
All right, and so Steve B is going to be on the German side. I think Mark, you want to be on the German side?
Yeah, I'll take German.
Okay, and then yeah,
I play Ben all the time. I never get to be the German, so.
Yeah, I never play the Germans, to be honest with you. So, and then
I'm happy to be Russian.
And then whoever, like I said, whoever just shout out if you want to be. If you don't have a choice, if you don't have a preference, then we'll just go for it.
Yeah, this is Jim. I'll take Russian.
Okay. So you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna do this. Everybody, nope, don't want to do that. Instead of me typing all this crap in here, you guys can do some work for me. So open up your Vassal counters. Does everyone know how to do that? And I left my little thing on the screen here for the people. It's the little 467. Click on that, and then click on the nationality that you want to play. Mine's going to be Allied. Go to single man counter, whether you're German or Russian. Click on armor under single man counter, and you should see some values of leadership like this is what you're looking for. And what I want you to do is I want you to name that counter and put your counter under the side you want to play. And if we could have 6 players play the Germans, I don't really care. You know, I mean, you'll just have 1 tank each. So everyone grab a counter. I don't care. It doesn't matter what value it is. Just pull it. And then just stack it under the Russian players or the German players. It doesn't matter. And that way we can kind of know who's on each side instead of me having to type everything out. The process looks kind of cool.
And you just want to put name?
Yeah, put your name on there. Yeah, put your name on there. And that go. Hey, Rob K. 10-2. Yeah, hell yeah. Good deal. Good deal. Got some 10-2 leaders on our side. Hell yeah. There should be an armor. There should be an armor leader. Just clone the one next to you, Jim. Clone
Okay.
clone Craig's counter, and then just click on name, right click, and then go name, and then just change it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Name.
And I'll delete you later.
Okay.
And I'll move Craig over here. Steve B over here. Did you change the name? Yep.
I did, and it disappeared on me.
Okay.
Hang
Right
on
click.
just a
I'll get it. I'll right click on it. You right click on it, and then just Jim B, right?
Correct.
Okay. So 8-1. I'm going to stack you under the Russian players over here on the left-hand side.
There we go.
We got 6 players so far. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're missing 1. Smithy, are you in? Or Rob? Rob's in. Smithy, you got a counter? Who do you want to be? Russian or German? Oh, did you say something?
I guess he's still downloading stuff.
Oh, okay. No worries. But
Yeah, you had the same problem that I did for some reason.
Okay.
It just seemed
that's
real
okay. Well, which side do you want to be? No. You're here to play, Jeremy. You're here to play. It's all good. We're all gonna learn. We got some really new players. Germans. Okay, cool.
All right.
So go ahead and clone yours, Mark, and then just put Jeremy under that one there.
All right. Good.
So we got 4. Looks like we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We got 7 players, so 4 Russian, 3 German. You guys can split up the Germans amongst yourselves, do whatever you need, and we'll split up these Russians here as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 6, 7. So one of us will have 3 vehicles. So just choose. Rob, go ahead and just pick 2 vehicles. Everyone pick 2 vehicles on the Russian side that you want to use. They can be the same, they can be opposite or whatever. There you go, boom, boom. And then, boom, boom. And then what you want to do is on these vehicles, no, just on the vehicle themselves, right click on it and put label. Right click, label. And then put your name on the label. Or you could technically clone the guy, but I want to make sure your guys armor leaders don't obscure the counters, so therefore you have the information to you all the time. Absolutely good deal. And so I'm going to go here. There we go. Excuse me. Make one tank A, one tank B, because that's what your Stu A, like me, mine's Stu A and Stu B, because your acquisition markers will be associated with that.
Oh, that's right.
And then we could label those later. So yeah, so those will come up. So label Stu A. All right, very cool. Yeah, however you want to do them, that's fine. And then we'll have a couple extra tanks left over, and then we do what you want. Doesn't matter. So let's go with highest dice roll. Highest dice roll gets the 16. Second highest gets the 17. I got a 7. Oh, Rob's looking sweet. Craig, roll your dice. 11. That's gonna be hard to beat. Oh, somebody gacked it. And then Jim, there you go. Okay, we got a tie for second, so it's a re-roll tie. Rob, you get the 16, and then I rolled a 4. Go ahead, Jim, re-roll. 6. Okay, so you get the 17, Jim. So that's another vehicle you get to make, and then we got that, and then you guys over the right-hand side, if you pick your vehicles and do your names and labels and the Germans. We set up first off board and enter along the north edges, and we're just going to do a free-for-all on this one. Remember, if you look, let's set up because the Germans come on, and there'll be a scenario special rule that applies. So I'm going to grab my tanks and I'm going to set them up off board. So,
okay, so Steve, this is Mark. It looks like you want to grab 2 of the Panzer IVs.
Yeah, that'll work.
Okay, all right. Jason, what are you visible yet? I guess not. All right. Jason, do you want to? You can. If you can hear me, just type yes in the chat window.
Oh yeah, Jeremy.
I'm sorry, Jeremy.
Yeah, Jeremy.
I'm sorry.
Jeremy.
Yeah, sorry, Jeremy. My apologies. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Do you want the 4s or the 6s? Okay. All right. I'll take the other 2 4s then.
Is there a stacking limit for armor?
Yes and no. While you're moving around, there isn't. Okay, in the sense that the only caveat is you have to expend extra movement points if you enter a hex with another vehicle. At the end of the movement phase, however, you can't be in the same hex as another tank, as another vehicle. If that happens, one of the vehicles is eliminated.
Okay, so for setting up off board though, do you need to kind of set them up to where they all come in separately? Your preference for that?
Right. Usually line them up. Usually, if they're all entering in the same hex, you just kind of line them up in back of each other, because you technically have to remember that like the second tank in a column expends 1 just to even get to the board, basically. So you do have to kind of keep track of that. Right. So usually, like in this case, like since I'm grabbing the hold on, let me
pretty much if you're going to take advantage of the road, you want to set up like in a line per se, and it's the hex row 5 is considered the road. So like for me up top, I'm going to drive over that hill, so I'm going to want to be able to use the road for that. And down below, you don't really necessarily need to use the road because you're going to be turning anyway because the woods are right in your way. You could probably enter like A3 and then hit the road there in C3 and then make your merry way. That would probably be the quickest way instead of moving and then turning and then moving and turning, things like that. So, but whatever way you want to come on, that's fine. So, well, so the rally phase is where you set up your vehicles for anybody coming off the map, reinforcements, things like that. Pretty much the first thing you do in the rally phase is set up your off-board reinforcements. You either roll for them to see if they come on that turn, and then you set them up, and then you start doing your typical rally actions. We're not going to have any of that in this game. There's not going to be anybody broken. There's just going to be stuff blown up. So pretty much that's it for the rally phase. And then we prep fire phase. As you are off board, you may not conduct any off-board actions other than well, I think you can mantle or dismantle support weapons for easier movement online. So that's not going to be an issue that we're going to have. So we're not going to have any prep fire phase, and then we go to the movement phase. Now, when you move, like for off-board actions, what you could also do is, let's say, oh crap, I really didn't want to enter up here at the hill. I wanted to enter down here where Craig is. So what I could actually do off-board, I could, you know, and all of our vehicles are assumed to be in motion, which means that we don't have to expend a start movement point and really screw us in the red. I could say, oh, I want to go down by Craig. I could turn my tank there, and then I could literally move off board and then come down this area right there. So you don't have to necessarily enter like Craig's guys. He's not mandated to enter right here. He can go wherever he pleases and enter through a different hex. So let's say let's say Rob's first tank comes on, he gets blown up by some hidden gun somewhere. Said, well, might not want to enter my other tanks there. I'm going to drive them around the trees so they don't get shot. And that's what gives you the ability. So movement factors here. The scenario special rules for the Russians. We only get half of our MP. It doesn't say fractions rounded up or nothing. So you get half. So the 17s will have 8.5 movement points in which to move. So we're all in motion. I'll start my guys moving first. So my 17 will move first. There's going to be my half. All these guys are going to be CE. And so that way I can get the benefit of the road movement rate. If you are not CE, you will not get the benefit of the road movement rate. But the problem with the Russian vehicles in this one here, and we didn't cover at the beginning, is the type of turret they have. They have a restricted slow traverse turret, RST type turret. So what that means is if you are crew exposed, like I am, I may not fire my main armament, and I don't think I could fire my coaxial machine gun either. So although I have the benefit of moving fast on the road, I will not be able to fire my main armament. The Germans do not have that limitation. Our turrets will move slower than the Germans, and therefore we'll have a higher modifier to hit him. If we have to move our turret left or right, the first turret change is going to be a little more disastrous, but after that, it's pretty much the same. The Germans with the little circle around their tanks means they have a faster turret traverse. It's the circle on the tank. When you look on the hit chart, that's the T. Now if you look at the Tigers, they have a square on theirs, but the square is a thin square, which means they just have a slow turret traverse, which is an ST tank. So if you look at the difference between the 17 tanks and the 16s, it's a thicker square than the Germans' square. So that distinguishes those two different types of turrets. One is restricted, one is just a slow turret to change. So three different turret types in this one.
Where do you find the counter for buttoned up versus CE?
Okay, right click on the tank, and then go down to button up. It's fifth from the bottom. Control B is the shortcut for that.
Got it.
I have is that, you know, since we have some distance between us on the first term, when can you button up? So you come under fire, you don't want crew exposed.
Right. During your movement phase, you may button up or CE only once. You can only go one way or the other, and then in the advanced phase, you can go one way or the other. So you can't enter CE, go button up, and then go into his LOS, and as you pass his LOS, you can't then become CE again. It's if you start CE, the only thing you can change it to is button up or remain CE, of course. But once you button up, you can't become CE during that same phase. So remember, his guys will be coming on, and he'll have 4 movement factors. What I plan on doing is if I'm the guy top and I just go top and I remain CE, and if everyone goes to the bottom board, all he has to do is charge my guys and have free shots, because I won't be able to fire them. So most likely I will button up my guys. And remember, I'm sorry, skipping something important, gentlemen. Victory conditions. How do we win this game? Russians win if they eliminate more armor fighting vehicles than the Germans. Every vehicle that we get off the board counts as an eliminated AFV. So you say, hey, Stu, this is a real easy scenario. The Germans only have 6, and we got 10. This is a walk in the park. Yeah. Problem is based on the performance of the vehicles and our restriction, it will be easier for the Germans to hit us than for us to hit them. So keeping that in mind, what we'll probably have to do with this one is try to pick off the Panzer IVs and either ignore the Panzer VIs or swarm the Panzer VIs. If you're going to take 2 tanks against the Panzer VI, you're probably going to lose both of them. So on most of your articles on how to destroy a Tiger or tanks that you really can't destroy normally because you need to get a rear shot, you need lots of vehicles moving fast to get around him to take advantage of his weaker side and rear armor. So that's how we'll have to handle the Tigers. Although their rear armor is not that much less, but it's better than hitting his frontal turret of 14. And can someone tell me the kill value of our 76L guns if we hit his turret with an armor factor of 14? 76L. So you look at your AP to kill table, right? When you fold it out. Or you could look at the Valsel to kill table. It should be the same number. And you could look at 76L. Let me see if it's the same.
At what range?
Let's just go with the 3 to 6 range. Let's just say close range, 3 to 6.
17.
76L, 13.
Jim, there's a distinction between a 76L and a Russian 76L.
Yeah.
As you were.
Which is crap.
13.
Yeah. Crap and then not crap.
Got it.
Yeah, actually, it's actually different on the, oh, sorry, yeah. 13, yeah, it's the same. They added in there. So we're looking at 13s for front shots, or we're looking for 13s as base to kills. Actually, we're 13 out to a range of 18. Now APCR, see how the APCR changes the scenario? APCR raises it by 4. So your to kill is increased by 4, but your ammunition is very, very limited. So if we're going to hit the front part of that Tiger tank, and it's in the turret, it's going to have 14 armor. Are we going to scratch it? Nope. We're not going to be able to do anything to the front part of that Tiger. Therefore, we have to get on the side. An 8 we can deal with, but only barely. Okay. APCR can penetrate the front, but That's if APCR is limited, and to use your APCR against the frontal shot might not be your best bet. So that's kind of what we're looking at. If you're only dealing with the tiger, don't bother firing at it. There's no point in firing at the tiger unless you get a side shot. So you just avoid it. So that's what we're looking at, and that's what you have to do when you plan for the scenario. There's only 2 of them. The Panzer IVs have looks like a 6. Is that right? A 6 and a 3. We can deal with those guys. Those guys are cake. But problem is, his 75L gun, if you look at his 75L gun, it has a 17 to kill when we have a 13 to kill. So our armor's not terrible, but his gun is still slightly better than ours, especially with our inferior turrets on some of our Russian tanks, the 11 with the inferior turret. So that'll go down to an 8. So that'll blast us pretty easily. So don't think that the Panzer IVs are pushovers, because they are not. They can kill just as easily. And the German tanks are better at range, because why? Why do you say that, Stu? Because we use the red to hit numbers. We use the red to hit numbers, which are worse off past a range of 6 than the Germans. The Germans will have a slightly better chance, essentially a 1 better chance to hit at range than we do. So we're not going to hit them very well at range, although we can. So with that said, let's just rock and roll. Okay, no problem, Craig. That'll work. We'll keep them flying. We'll keep them noted for you, Craig. Whenever you get back, whether it be this week or next week, we'll keep them going. Not a worry.
Thanks.
So
All right, talk to you later.
All right, no problem. Take care. So I moved my guy on top, 1/2 movement point for there, and then since I'm going up the hill on the road, it's only going to be 2 movement points plus cost of terrain versus 4 movement points plus cost of terrain. If I were to enter to EE6, it would be 4 plus COT versus 2 plus COT using the road. That's why I'm using the road here. So that's going to be 3 movement factors right there, or movement points. I'm just going to go 2, see 4, 5, and then I've only got like 8. So we'll go 6, 7. We'll just go 8, and since I only have 8.5, I'll have to remain in motion, because I don't want to. I could go 1 more hex, but I would have to roll for excessive speed. I don't want to do that, because it's just going to make it easier for him. And at that point,
no excessive speed breakdown in starter kit.
Oh, really? Okay, so you just can't even move. So right now I've expended 8 of my 8.5 movement points, and I can't move any further, and I don't have. I only have a half left, so it's not enough to stop. So I am going to leave him CE, but I'm going to be in motion. The vehicle behind him is assumed to be on the road at 5, so he's going to be 1 there, 2, 3.5. That'd be 4 there because I'm using the road. 5, 6, 7, 8, and he will also be in motion. And that's it for my guys. And then Craig, I'll just go move Craig's vehicles forward. He's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the other guy go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And we can't go any forward. So his will also be in motion as well. I'm just put the motion beside both of them like that.
Okay. I'm probably the bigger stickler here for armor rules than most people.
Okay.
So I just want to bring up Craig's second move just as an example. Moving the second tank. Okay. One of the basic rules is that you must expend all of your movement points. Okay. You have to account. You have 16 movement points, example, or in this case, you have 8 movement points for the M43. You must account for all 8 movement points. Okay, so in his case, he said 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I'm in motion. Okay.
No, 7. That was 7.
Yeah, 7. Then I'm still in motion. That's technically, okay. So I thought you said 6. So I
yeah. Well, I can't enter any of the other hexes, right?
Correct. Yeah, in that case, you can't enter any of the other hexes, so you can stay in motion. But
Right.
but generally, you usually want to say you want to announce how many movement points you are using as you enter each hex, and a very big difference between infantry and armor in this case, and vehicles in this case, is vehicles can expend more than the minimum amount. Okay, they can expend any. So for example, as Stu moved up onto the hill, he's had to expend 2.5 movement points, but that's a minimum. He can announce
Right.
he spent as much as he wants, as long as it's the minimum of 2.5. So that can make a difference under certain circumstances. So you want to be careful about that.
Right.
So I just wanted to bring that up because I thought you said 6, and then you just said, "Oh, I'm in motion." But I just wanted to just clarify that for everybody.
Right. Yeah. Because he has more movement points left over. If I have to, like Craig said, I either have to stop or continue moving. But you say, well, if I want to continue moving, then I can't enter Z1 because it costs half or all, and I don't have that, and it costs 2 MP plus COT to enter another vehicle, which I don't want to do that because I'll just die at the end of the turn anyway. So that'll be 3 to enter the tank and half or all to enter Z1, which I don't have any remaining, and that allows me to remain in motion. Now, if I just went like 5 here and said, okay, I'm just in motion, no, you can't you can't do that. That's what Craig. That was. I'm sorry. That's what Mark's point is getting out. Because you can't just say, okay, 1, 2, 3. It can be I'm in motion. Yeah, it's a very different rule. A lot of people play it very leisurely and they just haphazardly do it. But you really kind of don't want to do that. You kind of want to try to use the rule as well as it's suited, because it does make a difference. Yeah. And we'll talk about expending more movement points in the next turn as it applies to tactical approach to attacking someone or better defensive strategies. So go ahead, Rob.
Bring that up because I am if you're playing me, I am a stickler for these things.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So bringing the first one on, then we would have 1, 2, 3.
Nope.
Nope.
Nope. Okay.
1, 2, 8, 3 to enter C3 because you're going from a non-road to road hex.
Right. Because you're not crossing road hex sides, and that essentially qualifies for road. And of course, you don't have to expend. You don't have to use the road movement rate, but in this case, we're trying to take advantage of that. So yeah.
So that one's 3. Then this gets us to 4.
Correct.
Correct.
Then 5.
Mm-hmm.
6. Oops. 6.
Yep.
7 and 8.
Right.
All 8 expended, ending in motion.
Correct.
Okay, so where's the?
You could clone one of mine, or you could right-click it, and it should have a move/motion. Be Control O is the shortcut key for guys that love the shortcut keys.
Gotcha. So
question.
Okay.
Oh, go ahead, Jim.
The question: when the vehicle got to that point, it normally a tank would spin a tread, and to me expend points to actually move within the hex. So how do you account for that when you change direction, but maintain forward motion?
Okay. Let's clone that. So that we're going to use Craig's tank. This is a clone tank, so we need to delete this tank. So what you're asking for? So your vehicle has a defined covered arc, right? So this vehicle's covered arc is G1, G2. It's the first 2 hexes in front of it. So it can freely move into G1 or G2 because they're within the vehicular covered arc. Okay. So when he reaches I1, this hex is outside of his covered arc, whereas J1 remains within his covered arc, and so he just goes to the right. Now, if he wanted to go to Y1, which is a good question, he would then have to change his vehicular covered arc, expending 1 movement point to do so, and then now Y1 is within his vehicular covered arc. Now you notice J0 has been in his covered arc in both instances. It's on his left-hand side here, and when he changes it here, now it's on his right-hand side. So that's what we're looking at there. And then he could proceed to move within his covered arc, you know, zigzagging or going straight down the line. And then if you wanted to face forward, then he would have to change again, expending another movement point. It's a good question, because that's a Y. It gets kind of wonky that way, and we're just going to leave this off the board. I'm going to label this as example.
Thank you. Okay.
Example tank. Yeah, good question.
Okay.
Remember,
so bringing the next one. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, remember, feel free to ask any questions at any time. Anytime. Now, the same thing like on that one there, we can move our turrets, and we can move those, and moving the turrets. We'll cover that in just a bit, but go ahead. But so ask, just don't be afraid to ask any questions at any time. Hey, John, if you want to jump in on this, we have 2 tanks for you. Go ahead, Rob.
Okay, so we got 1 to come on, 2.
No, hold on. One sec, Rob. That tank was right here, right?
Oh, yes. Yes, so I have to expend
1 for that one, and then 2 here. You're right.
2. Thank you.
No. Now, you don't have to set up in a line. You could technically set them up right there. Like this guy here could set up here as well. Since you're just opening it in the ground anyway, you could do that. But you could also set them up like that, or you could set them up because it's just entering open ground. Typically, you set them in a line when you want to take advantage of the road, like I did.
Okay.
But whatever way you want to do it, that's fine. I just want to point that out.
So what were we at? 2?
2? Yeah, sorry.
Okay. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then for the last one here, it would be...
Wait a minute. Mark yourself in motion.
Motion, thank you.
Yeah, it's a good one. Good point.
Then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and motion.
You got 8.5. You can go to J1.
Oh, that's 8.5, right?
Yeah, 8.5.
So that could get me technically into the last road hex here,
right.
and left and motion.
Right,
Roger.
right. That's where I was up top to. It's like, hey, you do have half. Usually it says fractures rounded up or down, but you just have half. So very cool, very cool. And then Jim, you get to bring your entourage on.
All right, let's see what happens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1 to stop.
No, you don't have the 1.
Right. You have 8. Right? Yeah, you have 8.5. Yeah.
Yep.
As you were. Okay. So.
Did you want to stop, Jim?
No.
Okay.
I just assumed you had to do that.
No.
Okay.
It gives you advantages if you stop, right? So if the Germans come on, because he'll have his full movement point allotment. So, like for instance, this 14 tank, he can come on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and what I would do is I would advise you to stop so you can cover everybody else. So you could take the shots for us. So he can move 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 4. He could actually get right there on turn 1.
All right.
So let's
see.
Yeah. So back him up to G6, and then you'll have 1.5 movement points left over, and then you could stop, and then turn your turret to the right. It'll be clockwise. If you now do that, right click on the counter, and it says the turret.
No, he turned his tank. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's kind of wonky. I get it screwed up all the time. I'll be honest with you. See, moves. Where's the turret thing on there? Oh, TCA. Control S is clockwise. Yeah, TCA, or you could click that clockwise, and it will move forward. And then since we can't fire if we're CE, well, you can go button up at the end of the phase anyway. So yeah, right there. And that way you could cover us all. You're protecting us. So, and he stopped, and the other vehicle can do the same thing.
Now, do I need to put a stopped, or unless
No.
you have a motion counter, it's assumed you're stopped?
It's
Right.
assumed you're
It's assumed you're stopped unless you have a motion counter. Now, you are considered to be moving even though you're stopped. Okay, and then we'll describe that at the end of the German movement phase. We'll go over kind of concepts that happen during the turn and things we need to look for. So go, and then button up that guy, button up that front tank, because you won't be able to fire your gun because of the limitation of your turret type.
Oh, okay.
So we're taking advantage of the road. Let's go ahead and button him up so we can fire. So well, you can fire. It's just the BU on the.
Yeah, I'm clicking. Every time I click on it, the tank appears. So.
Oh, okay. All right. So yeah, if you highlight the tank, press Control B, and it will toggle buttoned up or CE. So you can play with that if you want, and just or however way you want to do it. And then so go ahead and button him up. And the reason why the turret disappears when you button him up is it's just kind of because it coincides with the front of the tank. There's no need to have a turret counter for that, which is nice. It kind of cleans it up a little bit.
Got it. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 7, 8.
Oh, there you go. Boom. Yeah, again, for him, Jim, because we want to fire, go ahead and back him up 1. We want all your tanks stopped, and we want your guys to be able to fire on the Germans coming in. Although your red movement factors, it doesn't really matter. And then that way it will give us a good opportunity to be able to survive, because we can't hit it. We can't even, no one else can fire but you.
Okay, button up. Okay, so we're buttoned up.
Yep.
And what we'll do is just get rid of this CE. Okay, we'll worry about that in a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 1 to pivot clockwise, as you were counterclockwise.
Right. If you want to change, yeah, exactly. 7. That'd be 8.
There. Okay. So, and then we get rid of the CE.
Right. And then, but that guy will be in motion at that point, so you have to put a motion counter on him then.
Okay.
Because he didn't expend. He can't go into F8 or G9 with a half a movement point because they cost 1. So yeah, and he'll be in motion, and then if you want him CE, that's fine because he's probably not gonna hit any motion anyway. Or you could just button him up, and that will also be fine.
That's the problem that I have. That go ahead, Stu, because I can't. I need to play with it to outsmart that turret in the CE to get it.
Yeah, I hate the turrets. So do you want to button him up, or is he good?
Yeah, I do want to. Okay. I do, and he's hull and turret oriented, but I can't figure out how to.
Do you want to move your turret to the left to align it?
There. Yeah.
Okay. Right click on the counter, and then the TCA CW is what we're looking at, or the counterclockwise CCW.
There you go.
And then yeah, it's I always get it wrong. I've been playing with valves for 20 years, and I always choose the wrong direction. So don't worry about the finicky of the thing. It just is. So
it should be buttoned up in the turret in the right direction there, but anyway.
Yeah.
Yep, it is, but you have to put the motion counter back on. Yep, there.
Yeah, there you go.
Very good.
Cool.
Okay.
All right. So now that's it for the Russian movement phase. No defensive fire phase. No advanced fire phase. Well, we could advance fire technically, but see what you could do at this potential point we could advance fire. The vehicles that are in motion can shoot at hexes, which aren't going to do anything. But your stopped vehicles, Jim, because you moved, you may fire. Because everybody moved, everyone can fire. But the ability of your stopped tanks, what they can do is they could fire on particular locations, and what you can do then is obtain an acquisition marker. So what you could possibly do is, if you wanted to, is you could shoot it like this road junction in Z5, if that's in your LOS, and maybe another road junction over here, wherever you might think the Germans might be moving through, just to put an acquisition marker on that location. Because you're stopped, you can obtain an acquisition marker if you fire in the advanced fire phase. Everybody else that's in motion can't obtain an acquisition marker because they're in motion. Or
drill, let me do that then.
Okay.
So
and also, if you fire, because tanks are a little bit different than infantry, you can fire in the movement phase. It's called bounding fire or bounding first fire, but you don't get to put down an acquisition, because essentially what you're doing is you're getting a first shot off, trying to get a first shot off. But since you're in the advanced fire, we could lay down acquisition. That's the difference between those two phases. So if you want to do that, just pick 2 hexes. You'll have to roll to hit to make sure your weapon doesn't malfunction, and then you could put down it'll be an area target 1. You want to probably do an area target type weapon. Oh yeah, you choose like a little
So it would be I'd need line of sight to find the range.
Right.
Make sure I had line of sight, which I probably do, but we'll do line of sight to V3.
Okay, cool. So you drag your line of sight to V3, because sometimes it's blocked. You never know. So that'll be your L, your capital L right there. Boom. It says range. That also gives us our range.
Okay.
So then we want to look at our to hit chart, and we're going to fire area target type, because there's not a target there to specifically target at. So your area target type at a range of 15 for your Russian 76 gun, right?
Correct.
We'll need a 9 to hit. And then what it is technically you're firing on 9 to hit, but the to hit dice roll modifiers are going to be plentiful. So go ahead and roll to hit first, and then we'll go over the modifiers. There's no one there, so all you're really doing is just not mouthing your gun. And that's really what we're doing. And that will not mouth the gun. So take one of your acquisitions, your tank A, right click on your tank A acquisition, and then click on size, and it will make it a bigger size. The smaller size acquisition markers are when you're firing at a particular unit, like an infantry target type or a vehicle target type. Area target type will use a bigger counter like that one there.
Okay.
So if you want to move that counter to where you fired and just leave it there for the Germans to drive through. And then you could do that same thing with your secondary tank as well. Tank C.
It's we'll target Z5.
Okay.
And,
string the range to that one. That'll be another long shot. And again, the only thing we're really doing here is just making sure we don't mouth the gun. So that's a range of 19, which will be the same. I think it will be
19 on the area target would be again a 9.
Yep.
Okay. So to hit, miss.
That's all right. That's all right. But we do have acquisition on there, so change the size to a larger size and place it on Z5.
Okay.
Now the standard modifiers you would have, Jim, on that shot are plentiful. So one, you would have the to hit dice roll modifier number 1. It's firing in advanced fire phase, so that's going to be a +2. You're going to be buttoned up, so that's the penalty we have for buttoned up at least. That'll be another +1, right? And then you're considered not bounding first fire. So where's the other ones? Target hit. There are no target based hit modifiers because there's no target there. You're just firing at the area. area fire. Well, that's just it's not area fire. You're just using area target type. Area fire is when you're firing. What really? Firing. Yeah, firing at an empty hex. It says right here, +2 for the area fire. So just by those modifiers, you're going to have a minimum +5. So therefore, again, firing in advanced fire phase is not really that effective unless you're super duper close and right on top of somebody. So don't plan, if you move, don't plan on hitting anybody in that.
Right.
So, first fire. Again, the modifiers are slightly different on these charts that I'm used to seeing, because it totals them all up. Oh yeah, bounty in advanced fire. Yeah.
Yeah.
The plus it's +4 for the bounty, right?
Yeah. The numbers do eventually work out. They are the same numbers that you would eventually get on the.
Yeah, that's just a little wonky. Remember, just jump in there from getting something, from getting some numbers wrong, Mark. Because I honestly am very unfamiliar with these particular charts and tables, simply because I'm thinking about different numbers and I don't see them there.
Right. So. Yes. Yeah. You don't have all the. Yeah. You don't have like KC, C1, C2, C3, C4. Yeah. So.
Yeah. That's exactly. So so that's what we're looking for there. Now remember, Jim, your 2 tanks are pretty much the only tanks that can fire when the Germans come on. So that's why you're the one that holding down the fort on that one. Hopefully, now even though you have acquisition there, you could fire on other hexes if you wish to. It's just that you won't have that little extra -1. So anyway, with that, that'll be it for the advanced fire phase. The route phase we have none. Now advanced phase we can determine. Now we can button up. Now for the guys that didn't button up in the movement phase, like the guys on the road, things like that, now we can button up. What I will do is I will go ahead and button up both of my tanks, which means I could fire later on, but because they're both in motion, they're not going to hit anything anyway, but at least I won't be vulnerable to the Germans' machine guns. I don't really think it's a big deal at this point anyway, because being CE, you're +2. You have a +2 dice roll modifier. It's not a terrain effect modifier, but it's a dice roll modifier versus infantry fire table attacks. So, but I will button up my guys. I'll just have Craig button up his 2 as well.
Should I just go ahead and button up mine?
Yeah, if you want, yeah. Again, our motions to hit is going to be pretty rough. Again, because in the beginning of the movement phase, we can go CE again and take advantage of the road. It's just our motion status is going to be killing us initially. So, cool. All right. So I think the Germans will be in a good position where we can go over what Mark was stating about earlier in terms of delaying movement points. So we'll go with that. So Germans, go ahead and do your setup. We're done with our turn. There's nothing in the close combat phase. Now it's the bad guy turn 1. And you can set up your vehicles off board and conduct your turn as normal. Does anybody have any questions from that first section so far of what we've done?
I guess the question I had is, you missed with all the modifiers, but you still gain acquisition just by going through the process.
Correct.
I mean, you can't fail on acquisition.
Correct.
Cool.
In ASL or with concealment, there is a quote fail in acquisition, but we won't cover that.
Okay.
We won't cover that. But because he has to fire area target type on that, and when you do fire area target type, and this is when I was talking about types of guns which only have HE or AP ammo, you have to be able to fire HE ammo, so high explosive, because you're blanketing the area. If your gun only has AP ammo, you can't area target type. And there are certain tank destroyers. I think there's a tank destroyer, the Jagdpanzer 5, the SP gun, has an HE depletion number. It does have high explosive ammo, but it has a depletion number like of 7 or something like that. So he can area target type, but if he rolls above a 7 or higher on the to hit shot, then he will be out of HE ammo and won't be able to do it later on. So it's really not that effective. I mean, it's a tank killer anyway, so you're really not going to be doing area target type most of the time anyway. But that's kind of the idea behind that. You have to, again, that's knowing the back of your counter. Click on info, show info on the counter, and it will sometimes have an HE depletion number. Our tanks don't have that, so we don't have to worry about that. And I'm going to mark this gem here. I'm going to label some gem. So German, if you want to sit up, we can rock and roll, and then we can have some more discussion at the end of the Germans' turn, because we'll probably, hopefully, we'll get a couple crappy shots off of the Germans.
If you want to start us off, Mark?
Jeremy, you get the Tigers, right?
Yep, somebody's got the Tigers. I think Jeremy, you have the Tigers?
Oh, I'm not sure if he's still with us. I don't see him in the room.
Oh. Okay, so
just set them all up, Mark. We'll divvy them up later.
All right.
He may
to make our job easier.
Yeah, he may have good luck, but just divvy them. Just don't worry about it. We're just kind of just driving along.
All right.
Like I said, we're just going through the motions. We're going through some things, trying to learn as we go. If you guys happen to miss a week, not a big deal. We can have someone step in or somebody else move your vehicles for you. It's not a big deal. It's just the idea of everyone's got their own tanks. Everyone can move them where they want to and get them destroyed or hopefully kill some Germans, as the case may be.
Okay, so who do we got? We got that's Steve moving his two around. Yep, Steve moving his two around. All right.
Yeah, I just put those 2 Panzer IVs at the bottom.
All right.
Excuse me. Oh, Steve's on the German side?
Yep.
Okay, let me get you an armor leader, Connor. Steve B, gotcha.
Oh, I moved it. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, it's over there? No, I'll just stack you down below. There you go. No, you could put with your vehicles. It's fine. I just it's easier for me to keep track of the players that way. On whose side.
All right, you want me to go first, Mark?
Um,
Or you can.
Oh, there's another errant tiger. There's another errant tiger off the board.
Yeah. Still got the other one here. Yeah. Well, okay. Let's do this. Yeah, I know. I hate. For some reason I can never remember counterclockwise and clockwise.
Yeah, it's always the wrong way.
It's it's all the wrong way. It takes forever for me to figure it out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. So all right. So I guess we've got I'm probably moving. Okay. So all right. So I don't know if we want to deal with strategy at all. At this point, remember that the Russians do have to come to us, okay, on a certain level because the Russians have to basically score more points. They have to destroy more vehicles than we do. So they've got to at least come at us. If we stay back and we just exchange and nobody hits each other, the Germans win. Okay, so so you want to keep that in mind. The other thing is that if the Russian just decides he wants to run off the board next turn, you have to kind of keep that in mind as well. So, he could right now this lead tank right here. There's a possibility. Well, he could just try to run off the road this way, just kind of go, 1, 2, maybe 2.5, 3.5, 4.5, 5.5, get back on the road and try to get off the road this way. So that's something to keep in mind as well. The other thing usually, as I said, for me is usually I, like to use the 4s as kind of flanking vehicles for the Tiger in case the Tigers get swarmed. You want to at least keep the 4s to try to help to support the flanks of the Tiger. So basically, there's more targets to worry about. But of course, the Panzer IVs are also more vulnerable than the Tiger. But that's something to keep in mind as well. So I guess with that in mind, Steve, you can go ahead and move first if you want.
All right, we'll give this a go.
Yep.
I'll take this Panzer IV at the bottom. Bring him on for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then I want to turn his covered arc. 13.
Oh wow, he just came on screen for me.
Yeah. So the service seems a little slow this evening.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to turn the tank's covered arc.
It's you want CA, not TCA.
Is that what I'm doing wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I usually do Control Z. I think it's Control Z is for the Control Z, Control X.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, see. Okay.
And
so that'll be 13, and then it'll spend 1 to stop right there.
Okay. And your turret probably want to be
your turret probably you gotta just turn your turret three either direction because it's probably mounting as well.
Right. So right now, Jim, you have an opportunity to fire up on that unit. Well, you had the opportunity to fire on him as soon as he came in your line of sight. So
yeah,
I didn't actually see him, but again, we have to take into consideration range. But he is stopped there. So let's go over sort of like the difference between a motion vehicle, a stopped vehicle, and a non-stopped vehicle, or a moving vehicle. So actually, all of our vehicles have moved, so we can remove that. Move there, and he's moved here, obviously. So, although he is stopped, the German tank is stopped on the bottom. He's still considered to be a moving vehicle. So when we when we look at the to hit charts and we look at the dice roll modifiers, the target will be a moving target. Target based to hit dice roll modifier. So the moving target will apply versus motion or moving vehicle. So 24, at least on my list, 24 is versus motion or moving vehicle. If he enters if he enters a different hex, right, he could expend all of his movement points in one hex by spinning around like a crazy man. He is not considered a moving target. Only when he enters another hex is he considered a moving target, which is it's counterintuitive, but that's the way the rule is interpreted. Once he enters
He's been in my line of sight for quite a while.
Right. Now you want to check the range. The range on that is what? He's clearly in line of sight to this guy.
We'll check it.
So the range to him is 15.
Okay.
So
so that would be 15 would be an 8. 8, and now the modifiers.
Right. So we need a base 8 to hit.
Where do you hit? Base 8 to hit?
Vehicle target type on the 76L.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. Yep.
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah, the infantry is really bad. So so we have a base 8 to hit. Starting. So our 8's are first level. So we'll just go down the chart. One doesn't. We're looking at fire base. So now we're looking at our vehicle. What modifiers apply to our vehicle? So just go the whole way down to vehicle only. Okay.
Got it.
So we'll just start from there.
I'm buttoned up, so I have it's 8 plus 1.
Okay. So
plus 1 for case 13.
Right. So,
and then bounding fire, I wasn't moving.
Correct. So that's not us. And stun.
Not stun, not motion stopped.
Right. So for your vehicle, for the fire based, it's going to be a +1 modifier for you. Now let's look at the target based. Okay.
There are no terrain effect modifiers. That's a plain line of sight. So there's 0 there.
Okay.
No hindrances.
Okay.
No first fire. It's not an acquired target yet. Target size. I need help with that.
Okay. Good deal. Target size. If it does not, now look at our tanks. Our tanks have black numbers on the armor. Okay. This is where you're going to find your target size. If you click on the Panzer IV, does he have black armor, or does he have white armor or red armor? The numbers.
Black.
It is black. So the first one is the 6 is what we're going to be looking at initially, and we'll get to the example. So he is a normal size target. So you're not going to have he's not a small target and he's not a large target. Now, if you look at the Tiger, take a look at your Tiger on the right-hand side. It has a red number for its first armor component, right? That means he's a large target. So it means he is easier to hit. So that will be a large target, will be a -1 to hit. If both armor numbers were white, then it would be a very small target. Or if both are red, it would be a very large target. So therefore, a 1 red is a -1 to hit. If he had 2 red, a very big tank, then he'd be -2 to hit. Okay? So he only has 1 red for the Tiger, so the Tigers are easy to hit, but we can't penetrate them. But this vehicle here has neither, so the target size does not apply for that particular vehicle.
Very good.
Okay.
And
so
then case 24, I have seen him for more than 3 movement points, so that's +2.
Okay.
Because he was moving, so that's +2.
Yep.
And not up next to him. So it's an 8 up 3.
8 + 3. That sounds right to me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now what you could do, Jim, is click on your tank and go show info. Okay. Let me know when you can see it. Remember when we were talking about ammo types?
Got it.
Since we need a base 8 to hit and you're +3 to hit, right? We looked at all the modifiers and we're +3. You need a 5 to hit that guy. Tell me what your depletion number is for your APCR. And if you don't know, just say, I got no clue what the hell you're talking about, Stu.
No, it's with the A, it's a 4.
Okay, that's a
19. No, as you were in 44. The depletion number is a 4 in 42.
Correct.
5 in 43.
Right, and the scenario takes place in 43. Absolutely. So in this case, it would behoove you to quite possibly use your APCR on this unit just because your 5 kind of corresponds to hit. The choice is yours. And if you want to base that, remember, we need a 13 base to kill. Your APCR, if you were to hit, because you need a 5 anyway, right, will be slightly higher. I think it's 3 or 4 higher. So you'd be easy. If you hit him, you're going to kill him easier. So it would behoove you. And if you roll higher than a 5, you will not have any APCR, that special ammo for the rest of the game, and you are considered not to have fired any weapon, and therefore you could fire your armor-piercing rounds again. Not again, but you could then fire your armor-piercing round. So therefore, essentially, you're kind of stealing 2 potential shots on this guy. So
I had no idea. Okay, well let me announce that then. And this would be what, APCR?
Sure.
Round, for 17 possible.
Yeah, that's a good kill number, to be honest with you. But we need to hit that. We need to hit that bad boy first. Yeah, and it has range. It might have a range of. No, it doesn't. 17 and 19. It will have depleted range. So if we hit him, we'll have a 17. Oh, wow, holy crap.
So
Jim doesn't mess around.
Well, except I hate to tell you this. If you fire APCR at range greater than 13 hexes, greater than or equal to 13 hexes, you have to add 1 to your roll.
Oh, is it on the chart?
15. Yes, it is. Yep, and you are at 15 hexes.
Okay, APCR.
APCR, APTS, case 11.
Case 11. Yep, greater 13 plus 1. So you missed by 1. And you don't have the ammo. That's an excellent roll, but you missed by 1. That's fine. So we don't have the acquisition because that wasn't considered a shot.
No, it was considered a shot.
Oh, right. So he does have acquisition. He just missed.
He just missed. Yep.
Good deal. So now you have acquisition, and you rolled 5, which equaled your APCR number. So now you are still out of APCR. You are still considered a shot. So what we'll do is
I would label that
yeah.
Okay, label and no APCR.
Yeah, just extend your name on your label. Jim Tank A, no APCR. Well, that's good. That's fine. That's fine. And then good shot, good try. Now we have acquisition. No, not a big deal. Good try. And you could fire your other tank if you want, or we could turn our other guys to fire our guys. But I don't think anybody's gonna hit. You could choose to wait for somebody else to move, but you do have acquisition, so you'll have a good shot on him next turn. So that's a good deal.
Okay,
good deal.
I'll stand by and hide and watch now. Yeah. See what happens.
Yeah, that would have been exciting if you popped him off from the beginning. Not
so much for me.
We all just run away. Just run.
Okay.
He'll start hunting us. All right. So that's 14. Good. Yeah, good thing you ran through the numbers pretty easily, and I think you did a great job on that. To be honest with you.
Thank you. Thank you.
that was a good deal. That was a pretty easy thing. And thanks Mark
you
for doing the
guys
APCR.
like you and Mark for taking your time to help people like me figure this out. Appreciate it very much.
It's a lot easier, a lot funner to do it while you're pushing counters around instead of trying to decipher the rule book. And if we miss stuff, we miss stuff, right? And so Mark I knew APCRs that got crappy range, but again, I'm used to an ASL chart versus it being listed at the chart on the SK chart. So Mark is very fluent in the SK charts. I'm really a neophyte, like other beginning players. I really kind of don't use those charts. I just kind of use the other numbers. It's easier for me to use the other numbers. It's so anyway. So good deal. Looks like Jim might get the first kill. Let's hope for it.
Okay.
All right. Oh, and Jim, one last thing. You should obviously mark yourself as defensive first fired.
Oh yeah. There you go. Now you could intensify in the same phase, right? He'd have to fire during this movement phase if he wants to intensify. But and that would of course add 2 to the to hit, but your to hit number will go down just a little bit. But again, the choice is yours on that particular instance. But
he only spent one round, one turn.
Oh, that's right.
In that.
True. That's true.
So I don't think I could shoot again.
Right.
Until he does something again.
Now, what you could do, and this is where the machine guns come into play, and this is where crew exposure is a risk, is you could fire your machine guns at him. Your bow machine gun will only be a 1 firepower, but your coaxial machine gun, I think it's 15. Your coaxial machine gun can shoot twice its range.
Its range is
yeah, but it will be outside the range, so it will be half firepower. Yep. So you'll have it. You could fire your machine guns on him at 2 firepower, and because he's CE, he'll have the 2 dice roll modifier on top of that. So that would be a 2+2 shot, which is like a free shot. So there's no harm.
I'll take it.
There's no harm in that shot.
I'll take it.
Oh, the harm.
Yeah. Oh man, Jim's rolling them 5s. You guys are sweating.
A 7 on the 2.
7 on the 2 chart is barely a miss. Oh, barely this man.
Darn. All right.
Damn, I need your old dice for me in my games, Jim. Let's not screw around here. Holy smokes. That's such good shots. All right, I think we're done there on that. And bring your next victim on, gentlemen.
Okay. Go ahead, Steve.
All right. Well, I want to keep living dangerously, I think. We'll go 1 with the tiger, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm going to delay for 2 more to make it 8. I think I'm still largely out of line of sight. I'm going to go 9.
Well, back up just for a sec. First of all, I can't see your guy moving.
Oh, really? I'm sorry.
No, it's just it's
probably
slow.
because I'm holding them. Yeah.
No, or that, or it's just slow. So
that should be in BB8.
Right, and so
that would have been 1, 2, 5, 6.
Okay.
To BB8, and then I was going to delay 2 in BB8 to go to 8.
Okay. Now here's where Mark is going to jump on you.
Yes.
Go ahead, Mark. Go for it. Describe the difference between what you said before, expending more movement points to enter hex, and then expending a delay. It's very it's kind of nitpicky, gentlemen, but there is a distinction between that. So I will let Mark explain it because he's the man. Go for it, Mark.
Okay. All right. So as you are moving, you can basically the number of movement points to move into a hex is technically the minimum number. You may declare to spend any number from that minimum up to the remainder of the movement points that are available to you. Okay. So that is you just announce as you are moving into that hex, you just say 8, even though it only costs you, let's say maybe it only cost you 1, you were at 6, so it'd be 7, you could say, nope, 8. I'm just going to go 8. I'm expending 2 movement factors to movement points to move into that hex. Delay occurs after you have stopped. You must stop the vehicle, then you can expend delay points, basically just kind of waiting to move again. Once you expend the number of delay points you wish, then you can start up again or do whatever you wish. But you can only expend delay points once you have stopped.
Okay, gotcha. So yeah, I don't want to delay. I want to spend the 2 extra movement factors.
Right. So you basically
go to 1, 2, 3,
4, 5, 8.
Okay. So we're at 8. No delay.
Now tell me, if you were to stop that tank, is there a problem, Steve?
Well, I would have to roll for breakdown if I wanted to restart them.
Correct, and that's where the expending more movement points into a hex makes a difference, at least for this particular type of tank. Now, you may want to stop and fire and then start back up, but this is probably not one of those tanks that you want to be jamming, left and right, jamming the transmission up. So,
transmission very gently.
Yeah, and so therefore, you can stop and fire your Panzer IVs all day long. You probably don't want to do that with big boys like this. So it's a very slight distinction in the rules that Mark eloquently explains, but it is a distinction. I'm pretty bad at that. I'm honestly just bad at that. I mean, I make mistakes like that all the time, but there's a big distinction in the rules for that. And there's a purpose for them. I mean, it's just not like haphazard. It's like, oh, why the hell is it? There's a slight purpose for them. And as you guys play more and you experience those different things, you begin to understand more. But so right now, just take it kind of like at face value, and then we can go into that later if you want. So
the basic reason for delay is once you enter into somebody's line of sight, you have to stay in their line of sight in order to reduce the positive modifiers that you have. And
Correct.
So that's usually why you expend delay points. Is you say, okay, I want to try to get a good shot on you, so I'm going to expend 2 or 3 or 4 delay points to basically lock your target. Okay. Now the disadvantage, of course, is that just as you are still expending movement points. Okay. So you're probably in somebody else's sights for a longer period of time. So his hit numbers are going down as yours are going down. So that's the game you're playing.
Right. And since we're on that, I want to jump on that right now. I was going to do it at the end of the turn. So let's say for instance, you're out of line of sight in your current location. Okay. To all enemies that you're going to be taking on, right? And this is where the not delay, but the expending the extra movement points makes a difference. Let's say you're in CC9, and let's say you've got 5 movement points left over, right? So, and what we want to do is we've got an enemy tank. Let me use my example tank. Example tank over here. Let me just zoom out. I might be smarter if I just zoomed out and drag him over there the whole way. Let's say this guy's in the woods right here. All right. And this is one of the primary reasons why you want to do that. And he's not CE, so I'm going to button him up so it's like legit. So you know you will enter LOS in AAA. So let's say you have 6 left over. What you might want to do is expend 4 to enter here. Right? Say 4 movement points to enter. Just say from CC9, I go from whatever to 4 more movement points. You're out of my line of sight, and then you go 1 movement point, and then you wait for him to fire, and then if he doesn't fire, then you say stop for 2 movement points. Now you've expended all your movement points, right? But you've only expended 2 movement points in his LOS. So if he were to fire upon you from that 2 movement point, that second movement point expenditure, it's going to be harder for him to hit. Now, if you just moved willy-nilly in there, let's say you went 1, 2, stop, and then I'm going to end my turn, then it's considered you use the rest of your movement points in the hex, then he just blasts you. So there's a slight difference in only being exposed to a certain number of movement points, and this obviously is just a numerical math game at that point of being exposed to the enemy fire, and that's what Mark was kind of talking about before. But that's the real world example where you'd want to burn up all your movement points before you enter his line of sight. So, but you're a Tiger, you're badass. So
okay, so I guess we're back to this. You were expended 8 to get there.
Yep. So we're gonna go here for 9, 10, 11, and 12 to stop.
Oof. That's very bad.
Okay, I can take a shot.
One's all it's going to take. One's all it's going to take. But you're the man, Jim.
Well, okay. The T-34 in G8 to the Tiger in I-7.
Now, will your shot affect him, Jim?
No, but it'll give me acquisition on him.
If you hit him, if you're to hit numbers 12, and you can hit him as long as you don't roll a 12 to malfunction, will it make a difference? Look at your to kill charge. Let's combine. Let's look at our to kill numbers. Okay. So you're 76L. Look on your AP table. You go ahead and move your other vehicles, guys. It won't be a difference. I don't. 76L. No APCR. Let's just ignore the APCR. So it'll be 76L. It's 11. So, what? Actually, what is that? That's not a 17, is it? No, Russian 76L. Yeah, good lord. All right. Yeah. So we're looking at Russian RUS 76L, no APCR. And let's say it goes out to a range of, let's just assume it's 13, 18. So you have 13 to kill number for your AP. What's his armor?
See, that's where I have trouble, Stu, because I'm looking on the AP to kill chart, and I see the 85L, and my number under 13 to 18 shows a 17 and parenthetically an 18.
Right. You're looking at your gun, not his gun. Your gun is a 76, is it not?
Oh, as you were.
Yeah,
Okay.
76L, and it's a
no,
Russian one.
I was looking, assuming it was a T-34-85, and that's not the case.
Yeah,
So it's
that's
a
fine. That's fine.
76L. I'm sorry. Okay.
No, that's all right.
So,
I was looking at the other 76 to be honest with you. It's like 70.
okay,
So-
a 76L is still a 17
Nope, but we're
and a
Russian.
21.
Look at the next one, Jim. Look at the next one.
Next one. Oh, hell, it's a 13.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
crap. The Russian 76 is crap. So yeah,
Okay.
that's why we're at the big disadvantage. 17's not bad, but we're at a disadvantage of a 13. Let's assume it's 13, 18 hexes, and his armor is what?
It's 11. So
Right.
I'd have to roll snake eyes.
And if you
to
hit
kill.
his turret, like just roll the two top dice, the red and the white one. Just roll those. So that would be a whole shot, right? But if you hit his
Yeah.
turret, remember about the box that we talked about before? The
Uh-huh,
box will
yeah.
increase his armor factor to the next step up. In this case, it will increase it to a 14. So our base to kill number is 13 at that range. And so if we hit his turret, which is theoretically going to be half the shots, right?
Yeah.
Then it's just going to bounce off. It's just
I
going to
got
bounce
it.
off. Even with the APCR, it's going to have a tough time punching through that tank. And that's why the Tiger is such a formidable opponent that even our guns, even though we outnumber him, we really don't have a chance of penetrating the front armor effectively. We can blow up his little bad boys on the side. So that's what we're looking at there.
Okay, that was good initiative, bad judgment. So we won't do that.
Yeah, that's what. And then so he moved another guy behind him, which is fine. I don't think yeah, it's a tough shot there. And then go ahead and proceed with the other guys.
Okay. I'd say you're there, Steve. You finished moving.
Yeah, I think we'll leave it there for now. See what happens.
Yep, sounds good.
Okay. You stopped and delayed. All right. So. Right. Sorry, I always have a tendency to forget to do this before I get on board.
Yeah, no worries.
All right. So technically, you should have them done, off board.
Right.
Okay. We'll go. All right, so it's the 5 row that technically is it, right? So it's
Okay. Yeah, don't worry about it. There's only 2 tanks there, so just don't worry about it.
there. 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 8, 9, 10 to stop.
Wow.
Let's see.
Excuse me. That's a big tank. That's a big tank.
While Mark is doing this, can I just ask a really quick question?
Absolutely.
How do you determine really quickly if you hit the hull or the turret on the dice roll? I was just really quickly looking for it and I couldn't see it.
Okay. If you're to hit dice roll, colored die roll is less than the white one, then it's a turret hit.
Roger. Okay.
And if it's equal to or exceeds it, then it is a hull hit.
Cool.
So, which kind of coincides with rate of fire on weapons. If you get rate of fire, most likely you're going to be hitting the upper structure or turret In this case, like, I mean, unless he rolls a snake eyes, but a snake eyes is again going to be a critical hit, going to blow you up anyway. So if he gets ready to fire, he's going to be hitting our turrets, and some of our tanks have inferior turrets, which means when he gets ready, he just keeps killing and killing. And
I've heard a ditty, and it's is it red over red hitting the head?
Yep.
Oh,
does that work, Mark? White over red hitting the head, as in hitting the turret.
Yeah.
Yep, white over red. Yep, absolutely.
So there would be one's there, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, 4.5, 5. 6, 6.5, 7.
It's a big tank. It's a quick one.
7.5 there. Oh.
That's all right.
8.5 to there. Stop for 9.5. Delay. 14.
Okay. Very cool. Very cool.
1 to there. 2 to there. 3 to there. 4 to there. 5 to there. 10, 11, 12, 13. Stop for 14.
Okay, cool. So it's all the Germans. Oh, we could move this. Defensive fire phase for our turn right now. My tanks do not have LOS to anyone. Craig's tanks. Those are. This is. What's the month?
March.
So the orchards are. Yeah, this is a pre-setup. So the orchards are out of season. That'll just be a plus hindrances for that.
Yeah, they're hindrances for everybody.
Yeah, so just for the hell of it, I'm going to go to I'm going to try to hit from Z2, Craig's tank, to you there.
Okay.
It's a range of 17. It will hit 1 orchard hex. Okay. So the modifiers are going to be exorbitant, but I just wanted to go through it. So let's look at the 17 hex range on that. So our base to hit number is going to be what, gentlemen? Vehicle target type.
It would be Russian 76 at 14.
At so yeah, it's 13 to 18 range. Yeah.
Okay, it would be a 6.
17. Yeah. 17 range. It'll be 70 hex range of the 76L.
As
Jim?
you were, it would be an 8.
Right.
76L at 13 to 18 is an 8.
Right, because we're in the vehicle target type. So it's a base 8. We use the red to hit numbers. So then we go to the fire based. We are nothing in the top applies. Guns and vehicles, none applies. We go to vehicles only. Buttoned up is +1, like we have before. We're always going to be +1. And in this case, I'm going to be screwed on the to hit because it'll be like a bounding first fire. And he expended how many movement points you expended? Like 5, Mark?
That in your line of sight, probably just the let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 11, 12, 13, 1 to stop, 2.
Okay, so let's go with 2. So that's going to be wow, it adds everything together. So it's gonna, we have a slow turret traverse. This will be +6, and then we are doing it with motion fire. So we're going to double the lower die roll. So I'm just going to roll anyway, just to show those modifiers and just show you the doubling the lower die roll. So we're +6, at least 7 to hit, and +1 for the thing. So we're +8 to hit. Gonna roll to hit, so nothing there. So in this case, what would we have rolled on the doubling of the lower die roll? This is to hit 2x lower die roll on the bottom of the motion counters. The 4 would become an 8, so that would have been a 14 is what we rolled. Okay. So that's the application of the motion penalty, is essentially what I wanted to exhibit. And even though I fired upon him and I am in motion, I cannot place an acquisition marker on him because I'm in motion. And so that's it for him. I'm not going to bother. I'll go ahead and mark him. Because we're just marking stuff. We're going to make sure we're consistent at least. So I mark him with the first fire. The other unit behind him can again proceed the same sort of thing. Low quality shot on him. Rob K in the middle. If you want to fire any of your units, I think you probably only have one potential target, and that's a tiger.
Yeah, and just given your last shot.
Yeah. Now what you could do is, matter of fact, what I could do, my shot's gonna be worse because I could fire my machine guns at him, but it'll be a 2+3, which I might as well fire my machine. Did he move? I might as well fire my machine guns at him. So it's going to be, what's the firepower of the machine guns in this case? His moving doesn't affect my fire. It is at, remember, 12 hex range for coaxial machine gun. We're looking at a 17 hex range, so that's half firepower for range because it exceeds 12. And then I'm considered to be in motion, and then it halves it again. So I have a 1 firepower machine gun on his CE unit. And so that's going to be a 1+3 shot on this guy. So might as well take it. Wow, that's good rolls. So that's a no effect machine guns. The guy in the back will fire also his machine gun, 1+3. Wow, these are crazy rolls. So we're barely missing him.
Close.
So so those are my, that's all my machine gun factors there. Those guys are done. I'm just put the final fire beside them. Now, Rob, if you want to fire on some guys.
Question for you. Looking at line of sight, it looks like my M3 might have LOS on the H4 Tiger.
Okay.
That's the only LOS I see.
On the it'd be the H3 Tiger. The H3 Tiger. You're right. Yeah.
Tiger, sorry. Yep.
You might have LOS to V9. It's likely that you have LOS to V9, but you'd have to change your turret covered arc and incur more penalties upon that. So the CE guys are about the only target we have, his only vulnerability right now.
So we could take the machine gun shot like you said.
Right.
Like you did, and that was our
right. Now in strategy wise, if you think that's a close line of sight, and if he thinks it's blocked, when we fire first, we're showing him that that's a clear line of sight, which is fine. We're in motion, you know, he's going to get his shots off. So what would be the firepower on your attack there?
So it was a 13 range. Where are you seeing the coaxial range on that, or the?
It's just a rule. Bow machine guns have 8 firepower range. Anti-aircraft machine guns have 8 firepower range. That's the normal range. And then coaxial machine guns have a 12 hex range. That's just the basic rule of vehicular machine guns. I don't know specifically where it is in the rule.
It's 7.8.
Okay.
Yeah.
In your rule book, it's page 20. In your standard SK4 rule book, it's page 26, third column.
So by having a 13 range on this, I'm doing long range fire, having it.
Correct.
And that would get me down to a 2.
Right, a 2, and then you're also in motion, so that halves it again.
Oh, that's right. So we're again down to a 1, like you said, and then that's a +3 on the CE.
No, mine was +3 because I had a hindrance in X3.
Okay.
That added to the shot. Yours will be a 1+2, which is a much better shot. And if
Okay.
you were 1 hex closer, unfortunately, that would have been a 2+2, which would be a really good shot since everyone seems to be rolling 4s and 5s all game long.
Well, let's see what happens. Yeah, I'll blow it out of the water. Go with their 7.
Cool. Now you might have a LM. You might have a machine gun fire back here in K2. That's probably an LOS as well.
Let's see what we got.
Yeah, might as well take out LMG shot 2 or the coaxial machine gun.
Now we got that, and again, it's range 15, so we're halved. Motion halved again, so it's a 1 up 2.
Right. Okay.
I roll 7s.
That's okay. That's okay. The 7s we'll need those 7s later on.
Okay. And those,
Stu, this is actually this is a minor point for you.
Okay.
+2, the +2 for the crew exposed. That's not. Is that considered a TEM or not?
That is not a TEM. That is a dice roll modifier, but it does not combine with a TEM. So if he were in woods, it would not be a +1 for the woods, +2 for the CE status, and that is a distinction. I don't really think it's a big difference in SK, but there are particular instances in ASL where it deals with highest terrain effect modifier, lowest terrain effect modifier. The CE status is not a terrain effect modifier, so it's considered to be a 0 TEM. So it's non-SK-ish. So just considered +2, but just not a TEM by definition. It's just a dice roll modifier.
Because it is obviously slightly important because since I'm on the hill, normally that would give me a height advantage.
Correct. Yeah, they're exclusive of one another.
I can choose technically either the +1 or the +2, I guess.
Right. Like if you were in a stone building or something like that, yeah, you take the something like that. Absolutely.
Oh, all right. That's a good point for me. Right.
Yeah. And so we had Jim with his hot rolls. We've got a rolls rolling for you, Jim. You got to be the man.
I've got a heck of a shot here. And we're in an advanced or defensive fire.
We're defensive fire, correct? Yeah.
Defensive fire. So G8 to Y2.
Right.
Right. G8.
Now what's that range on that one there?
Y2 is a range of 18.
Okay, and you hit what in V2?
That's going to be a Mark IV.
No, string your LOS and keep your LOS on the board for just a second.
Oh, okay.
And tell me what you see.
Let's see. It's the G8 to Y2. Okay.
Just string the LOS again. Draw LOS thread.
Y2. Done.
Okay, boom. Now, what do you see in V2?
Oh, hell, yes.
Yeah, so we have a hindrance.
A hindrance.
Right,
okay.
Gotcha. So now, what do we need to hit? Remember, buttoned up because we're screwed, because we're Russian.
Okay, so we're at a range of 18.
Yep.
And let's go through it. I'm buttoned up, so that's a plus 1 for case 13.
Right.
+1, and sounding fire at this point. Case 14 does not apply.
Correct, because you are stopped.
Okay, and so is he.
He is stopped, but he is considered a moving target. But that's target based to hit dice roll modifiers. So
okay.
this is us. This is the fire base. So the 14 does not apply to your fire from that location.
Okay, and then. However, does non-stopped fire, does that apply? A16?
That's motion fire? No, that's when you have a motion, essentially a motion counter on you like us.
Ah, very good. Okay.
So you're not in motion, so right now you're only +1, so you're the man.
Okay.
So now we look at target-based modifiers.
So there's a +1 for case 17?
Nope, not quite. Clay's 18.
As you were, 18.
Yes,
18,
gotcha.
Which
Yeah,
is
you
a
gotcha.
hindrance.
That's right. So we got +1 for
So
that. So
plus
2
1.
so far.
And it's not acquired. It's not hazardous. It's a normal. It's a normal. It's not a large, and it's not a small.
Right.
Can you help me there? I'm
Yeah, so
not
it's just a
that
normal size. So the 22 does not apply because it's a
Very
normal size
good.
vehicle.
Okay.
Area fire does not apply because it's not an empty hex.
Okay.
And 24, it is just a moving vehicle, so it's only +2. If we were to
Okay.
fire in the movement phase, those movement point less than 1, less than equal to 3, or greater than equal to 3, all those would apply in the movement phase, but not in the defensive fire phase.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then the range does not apply because he's not point blank. So he's
Okay.
moving, which is +2. He's got a hindrance, which is +3, and you are buttoned up because you are a fine Russian commander at +4. I think those are the
Okay.
modifiers we're looking at, gentlemen. Are we on
plus-
that?
Yep. But then I would say the one last thing is whether he wants to fire APCR or not.
Right. APCR or not on that target. You'll need a 4 to hit, and your depletion is 5. That's a good question. That would be another. That would be a command decision on your part. The other one was 5 straight up, so it was pretty much even. So if you roll a 4, if you hit him, you'll have the APCR, and you won't deplete. But if you roll a 5, you're going to miss anyway, and you'll fire your last APCR shot. So that's a choice you could take. It's up to you. It's neither good nor bad. I think Mark would probably say take the shot. I would probably take the shot because, we got a tiger staring at our face. We may not get another shot. I mean, for all intents and purposes. So
Okay. Well, we're. I'm sorry. We're down the road further than my brain housing group can handle,
okay.
because I'm still back on vehicle target type,
Right.
and it's a range of 18. So that's a base of 7 because we're a Russian vehicle.
be 8 because it's at the right hand column.
It's a 76L. Okay.
Yeah, 76L.
So it's an 8. So it's an 8 to hit at the range of 18.
Right.
Now we have all of the modifiers, which
Right.
are an 8 plus 4.
Correct. So you would need a 4 to hit him, and then
Right.
Mark was
Okay.
saying, would you consider firing your APCR? Considering you got a tiger, considering essentially you have 4 tanks staring at you, I would likely use everything I could before I die.
Okay.
So you would need a 4
And
to
so
hit.
that's a Russian 76L. But before I even worry about APCR
Right.
or APDS rounds,
Right.
should I just resolve the to hit first?
No, because if you have to state that prior to the shot, because if you roll it to hit, and that's where the depletion number comes involved. That's the risk of the ammo type. Is you can't
Okay.
decide after the fact, because at that point, for all intents and purposes, you will never ever run out of that ammo because you'd only choose to use that ammo when you roll before. So the decision to fire APCR is before the shot. You have to commit to it before the shot. And
Okay, then I would commit to it because 4 is my usage loss, as you were 5.
yeah, absolutely,
'cause
because
it's
it's
43.
43, right? Because that's where the year makes a difference. So with knowing that it's 5, I think it's a good decision to make.
So
let's
But
roll low.
Yep. But I will give you the fact that you now have to add an extra 1 to your hit roll.
That's okay.
okay.
So now you need a 3 to hit because you're taking an 8 plus 5 shot at me.
Because the APCR reduces the base to hit range, or the base to hit number range. So essentially the -1 makes it worse for you to hit at that
Alright.
range.
Yeah, that range.
I will
but-
try it.
But still. Oh man. Okay, so now 2 things happen here. That's a good roll. 1, you missed. Right? But you still have the ammo. So you still have acquisition on him, just like the other guy. You fired the round. It was an APCR round, but you missed him, but you didn't deplete your ammo. So
And I get a 1 acquisition.
you get a
Yep.
1 acquisition. We'll move that other acquisition up there. There you go. You get your reduced size. Excellent. And then that's it. And you first fired him. You could intensify the gun. You probably won't hit the broadside of the barn at that range with our modifiers. So I would just wait. You've got good acquisition on both of his vehicles, and you have a good opportunity next turn, in our turn, to be able to do some damage on him. Now, tell me about your coaxial.
Hold on. There is one small thing that I do want to say. Except I can't remember. Technically, you have during the defensive fire phase, you can only intensive fire at adjacent targets.
After you first fired? Oh, right. After you first fired, correct. Yeah, we're not gonna hit crap. When hopefully we're not going to be adjacent. And
I just want that's a very important distinction.
Yeah, big. Yeah. Now the moving phase, we can intensify at range.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
During the intensive fire phase, you can only intensify at adjacent targets.
Right. Good. That's a good distinction. Big distinction there. Big distinction there. Now you have your machine guns, and the thing is here is coaxial machine guns about your bow machine gun. It's 17, 16. So I think it was 17, right?
18.
18.
Damn it. So your bow machine gun is outside of range. Your coaxial machine gun is in range. Now let me talk about target selection with coaxial machine gun. This is where a lot of players, including myself, get it wrong a lot. You have acquired that target in Y2 with your main armament. So therefore, your main gun's firing right at it. Your coaxial machine gun is technically firing right at that target. If you were to fire your coaxial machine gun at that target that you have acquisition on, you will not lose acquisition. If you instead saying, oh, I'll fire at the Tiger because he's CE and he's in my turret covered arc, right? Because it's still in the turret covered arc, or outside for that matter. If you fired a different target that you have acquired with your coaxial machine gun, not your bow, not your AA, not your rear machine gun, your coaxial machine gun, it will lose the acquisition on that other target, because technically you're turning your turret slightly to fire at the other target, because you have to essentially point the main gun at any other target to be able to do damage to it. Okay. So that's another distinction I want to make with the coaxial machine gun, is if just in case it's going to be the same either way, 2+2 on any of those tanks. So to maintain your acquisition on him, you might as well fire your coaxial machine gun at that guy, and then that way you'll still hopefully get an effect, but you won't lose the acquisition, which is very important. Essentially, the acquisition for the Russians cancels our buttoned up problem.
Okay.
So
let me try a 2+2 then.
Yes, sir.
Let me step in. It's actually a 2+3 because you're firing through the orchard.
Oh, right, V2.
Yes, okay. Yeah. 2 up 3.
Yeah. Right. No problem. No problem. Hey,
okay.
All we can do is roll dice. Dice.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. I think it's it for our firing. Unless you have anything else, Jim. Your motion guy probably can't hit anything like our guys. But that's okay. Advanced fire. Your advanced fire phase.
All right, Steve, you want to go first?
Okay. I think I'll start with the Tiger in Y7, and I'll take a shot at the T-34 in G6.
As a little, if you hear like a cackle over the radio, I am suggesting to you to perhaps change your target.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Are you thinking G8?
I would prefer you to fire on G8 because I think I've got the other Tiger. I think has a shot at G6.
Okay, fair enough. That's what radios
and
are for.
I know I don't have a shot at G8.
So we'll do a line of sight check to see if it's going to hit that hindrance in H8 and to get to range. So that's not an inherent hindrance, right? The brush, so it doesn't.
It's not inherent terrain
So
type.
it doesn't pick it up. So it's a range of 18. All right. So as far as modifiers go, I think the only one I see is the bounding fire in the advanced phase, which is a +4, correct?
You are you're CE, so we don't have to worry about that. It's a normal sized target, so you don't have anything like that. There's no hindrances. I do believe that you are correct. Yeah, the only thing you have to worry about is you are a slow turret firing in the advancing fire phase. You have to add 4.
All right, and at a range of 18, base hit is a 9.
Ugh.
We'll roll.
Oh, thank
7.
goodness. Thank goodness.
So we miss, but I'll drop an acquisition on him.
Oh, G8, right?
Yeah, G8. You fired on G8.
Yep, you're right. My bad. All right.
Wow.
I have to step away from, this is Jim B. Have to step away from the keyboard for a little bit.
No problem, Jim. No problem, Jim. This will be the end of the turn. So what I'll do is we'll have just a little bit of discussion at the end, and then you'll see if you want to. You could contact me later. But yeah, go ahead and step away, and but we're just about done. So.
Okay. Be back in just a moment.
All right, no worries.
Yeah, so I think I made a mistake changing his covered arc when I moved him. But out of just to try it, we'll take a shot with this Mark IV here in what is that? P9.
Okay.
And I'll take a shot at the guy in motion in M3.
Okay. Well, that's close. Oh, that's so close. I knew it'd be close. Oh, man, that's so close.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm sorry. I think you're nailed. Yeah, just barely clears the.
Yeah, it's not on both sides, so yeah, I knew it would be pretty close.
Just clears it. Wow. Yeah.
So on that one, I probably have the same +4 for bounding fire, but I also have a motion target, right?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, you have to add 2 for his motion.
I didn't even catch the range on that. What was that range?
11.
11.
Man.
So that's just a base hit of 9 with +6.
Right.
And that doesn't do me any good.
Good deal. Man, we've had some close shots. Oh my gosh. Super close shots.
So the guy in BB6, honestly, I think the only thing he can really see from where I left him is the guy in G6.
Yeah, you can go ahead and fire. You know, I mean, hey, if you get lucky enough to hit, go right ahead. You know.
Yeah, with my rules, you'll still get a shot.
Well, no, I mean, hey, I'd much rather you hit him than nobody hit him. So trust me.
That's a range of 21.
Okay. Damn, that's far. Oh my goodness. 13 twice. Jeez.
That's a base of 8.
That's another 8. Yeah.
And then this one just has the +4 for bounding fire in the advanced phase.
Yep.
Jeez.
So do they have modifiers for greater than 24?
That'll do it for me.
Technically not. It's left as an exercise for the student.
Oh my god.
I think it's technically the way they say it, yeah, which is really kind of annoying. But Well, I mean, technically, yeah. I mean, technically, in this scenario, I mean, you could be firing at greater than 24 hexes. So,
Right.
you know.
Right. I think the numbers go up after 24.
No,
You never
Yeah,
know. You know, the arcing fire or some crap like that.
yeah. The computer guided munitions.
That's so weak. But yeah, most of it's on one board, so yeah, I can understand. But yeah, obviously. But this is a completely open board. I can see. Oh, that's kind of hilarious.
All right. I'll go ahead. I'll take my shots.
Man, this is crazy.
All right. I'm gonna go ahead. This guy here, he'll fire on 1, 2, 3, 4. 18. All right. So it should be 18. So I'll fire at the far guy there.
Okay.
Check on sight. Oh, yep. All right. Oh, okay. So I didn't even see. Yeah. All right.
Oh, that's
so,
clear. Cool. Very
oh,
cool.
it's clear. Yeah, it's clear. I knew that, but I thought it was clear. I was clearing. I cleared the orchard here, but didn't realize there was an actual orchard here. So all right. So I still get the.
Oh yeah, I didn't see that either.
Yeah. So I still get the +1. All right. So I do get the +1 for the orchard. I don't get the +1 for the other tank because of course he's in motion anyway.
Right.
And I'm above him. So all right. So that was 18. I'm clear. German 75L at 18 hexes. Base is 9. +4 for bounding fire. +1 for the orchard.
Wow.
So we'll go ahead and I need a 4, so 9 + 5. Nope. Okay. And I will. Let's see. I'll grab an acquisition marker.
It's not actually that difficult to miss, gentlemen. We're just not rolling low, or they're not just rolling low enough.
Yeah.
So
okay.
4 after moving at range like that is pretty sick. So.
Okay. So this guy, the tiger, he's going to fire at this guy right here.
Okay. I'm thinking that's out of LS.
I don't know. Where is he? He's in G6?
G6.
Oh, man. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Thought I had it.
That was close. Tight.
All right.
Oh! Damn.
Oh, that would have hurt.
Oh, man. That would have been bad. That would have been super bad. That's all good. It's all good.
All right, so he's advanced fired. I thought I had him. Oh well. And we'll go ahead and that's actually a pretty bad position for that tiger. Ugh. Okay. I thought it was being clever there.
That was tight. That was about as tight. That's just obviously as tight as you can get it.
Yeah, I thought it was being especially clever, but I guess it was, as usual, I'm about a little too clever for my own good.
He's a tiger. He's immune to everything in this game. We can't even get to him this next turn.
Well, yeah, but still. All right, I'm going to go ahead and this guy's going to. Can I hit him? No. Now my problem is I always get scared about these sorts of things. Like,
never doubt yourself.
It usually doesn't matter as much when you're talking like 18 hex ranges.
Right, exactly.
It's still pretty hard to judge. So I guess I'll go ahead. I'll take the one I know I've got. I'll take this one.
Right, gotcha.
I think that's just return shot, so it should be +1 for the orchard, +4 for bounding fire. Base is, I think, 8. I think is a 9. I think base is 9. I think that was 18 hexes,
okay.
But we'll go ahead.
Because you have a real gun. You have a real gun, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, base 18 hexes. Yeah, base 9.
Yep. Base. Yep. Okay. Yep. All right. So base is 9, and so that gives me another 4 to hit.
Cool.
Nope.
Man. Close shots. These are close shots. I'm like on the edge of my seat on this game. These are so close.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Not our finest hour.
No, it's okay. It's looking good. It's gonna be a crazy ass next turn.
Yep.
Crazy.
All right. So that's advanced fire. All right, we can technically go to route and clear all the markers.
Right. Now, advanced phase, you guys could choose to go button up or whatever you want to do.
Let's do. I'm gonna stay crew exposed. I don't know about you. What do you think? What do you think, Steve?
Yeah, I think since they're going to be moving, I'm probably going to stay that way for at least one more turn, or one more player turn.
Yeah, I think we're gonna chance it. Yep. We're gonna stay crew exposed.
Okay, sweet. Advanced phase comes and goes. Close combat phase, and then when we continue, it will be the Russian turn 2.
Yep.
So,
Awesome.
Any questions right now, gentlemen? We covered a lot of information. We got 1,000 tanks moving, lots of modifiers rolling back and forth. I invite you to revisit. So you probably have 1,000 questions still. You have 1,000 questions spinning in your mind right now. Revisit the rulebook. Send myself or Mark questions. Post it on here on the Tactical Tuesday site. There's probably a link over here. ASLSK questions. You could post it there in case you just want to type it up so you get a result by next week. We're here to learn. We're here to learn some armor, and hopefully we can get better armor and just pick it up so you could feel comfortable in your next game about how to move, how to fire, motion fire, modifiers, things like that. That's why we're here, gentlemen. We're just here to learn, and we're just here to do the best we can. All right.
All right.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you for showing up. This is exciting. Turn 1, good deal. We'll go faster next time because we know we already broke the ice. Now we know what we can do. Plus, half our guys are going to die next turn anyway, so it'd be kind of quick.
Okay.
So thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming and sharing your time with us. And I appreciate Mark's help in this. Mark is the man. If you have any questions, he will probably get them right before I am with regards to SK. So keep that in mind that it's everybody's channel. Ask anybody you want a question, and we're just here to help you guys learn SK. So all right.
Yep.
Cheers.
All right.
Thank you.
Take care.
You too.
See ya.
See you.
Bye.
All right. Turn 1 is in the books. I hope you've learned a lot from this particular episode. We're going to be continuing it next week. We'll probably field some questions or cover someone else's episode. Take probably about an hour for that, and then add in the armor at the end of that session there to kind of mission mash it instead of just having it be all armor. I still want you to focus on the infantry strengths and weaknesses, routing, fire attacks, things like that. This is just going to be like a little segment of Tactical Tuesday. We're going to play our next turn, answer any questions. If we only play a half a turn, we play a half a turn. If we play a turn, I only want to do it about a turn maximum. That way people can go back and refresh their minds. So join us next time for Tactical Tuesday and a lot more good stuff. Thanks a lot for watching.